go. This is no problem. 5-pound baby, literally like 3 pushes. What's up guys? Welcome back. If you are new, welcome to our channel. My name is Tanya. I was actually sitting down making a list of video ideas for this, what is to hopefully be a fantastic year of 2019. And I got to going through this list and was thinking about, okay, it's 2019 and I got pregnant at 19. And like the teen pregnancy thing is made out to be like some big fantasy these days, and everybody's version of pregnant at 19 or teen pregnancy is 100% different. So I thought that I would share my pregnant at 19 story and get more into my labor and delivery at 19 years old and first baby and not having any idea what to expect. So I guess first I'll start off by saying I have 3 kids. I have all 3 girls, and most of these videos that I have seen, like teen pregnancies, most of them are really messed up stories. They got pregnant, the guy took off, their kid doesn't know their dad. Like most of them are those type of stories. That is not my story. All 3 of my kids have the same dad. I am still with him. We have been together for going on 11 years now. But my story does have a twist to it because of my past, which is a whole nother sit down story time video in itself that I don't know will ever make it to this channel because it's not extremely family friendly content, but we will get onto that later on in the story. So let's start off with, I got with my now husband when we were 18 years old, and we were together for 8 months, almost 9 months, and I found out that I was pregnant. So I got with my now husband, and he lived at his dad's house. I lived at my mom's house, and I pretty much was at his dad's house all day. I used to work at the airport in Colorado, and I left my house at 4:30 in the morning, and I got home at like 3 in the afternoon. I would go to Kenny's dad's house, and I would literally hang out there until like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'd go home, I'd sleep for 2 hours, I'd go to work and do it all over again. So it had gotten to the point to where I literally spent more time over there than at home anyways. So I packed all my stuff, I moved into his dad's house, and we had been together for like 9 months, and I found out that I was pregnant. Now, without going into too much details, the living environment of staying there wasn't really ideal for me being pregnant. So my mom pretty much begged us to move back into her house. So I was like my first trimester, and then we moved back into my mom's and lived there throughout my pregnancy. Now, I was one that my pregnancy, like finding out that I was pregnant, didn't really change my whole world because my whole perspective on life had already changed when I got with Kenny. Like, okay, so when I said that this will be like a whole nother story in itself that may not make the channel, I had just been off of drugs for a couple months, and I got with Kenny, and then he helped me stay sober, and we had been together for like 9 months, and I found out that I was pregnant. So now fast forward to about 7 months pregnant. I was about 7 months pregnant. I worked Monday through Friday, and so Sunday night at like dinner time, I felt like crampy. I felt like I was having cramps, and I told my mom. She says, oh, your body's just preparing you to have a baby. I said, I got like a month and a half to go. You're crazy. Like, why is it doing this? So I went to bed. I got up the next morning. I went to work. I worked all day long in labor. I worked all day long on my feet at the airport, walking back and forth. When my shift was over, I went and I cashed out. I told my mom. I actually worked at the airport with my mom. I don't think I said that. I worked with my mom, like she worked in the warehouse of the company that I worked for in the stores. Anyway, so I went to work with her. I rode to work with her. So when we left there, she actually called my doctor because she told me that I was having a baby. And I'm like, Mom, you're crazy. I literally have a month and a half to go. I'm not having a baby. It's not time. Lily's due date was July 9th. Lily's birthday is June 1st. So my mom called the doctor. The nurse says we'd like them to have, what is it, like 4 contractions within an hour before we even bring them in to like check them or anything. And this is my first baby. What is a contraction? I didn't know what any of that meant. I had no idea what to expect. Like my body didn't know what it was doing. So when she got on the phone with me, I was just like, it is just one long constant pain, one cramp. I didn't know what contractions meant at that time. So she said to go ahead and come in. I literally went in at 4:45. By the time we got home from work and we got Kenny and we went to the doctor's office, it was 4:45 when we got there. She called me back in the room. She says, "You're dilated to 9. Go to the hospital. I'll meet you there." 9. I think that was when it like reality sunk in, like you're gonna have a baby. Because like I said, my whole world didn't change when I found out I was pregnant. Like everything was just a regular, normal. I didn't have crazy, super bad morning sickness. Like I would wake up, I would throw up, and then it was fine throughout the day. My other pregnancies, those are whole different stories. I was nauseous all the time. I wasn't with Lily, so my world didn't change. But when she said, "You're dilated to 9, go to the hospital," like my first thought is 9. Like, don't it start at 1? What happened to the first 8 numbers here? So we went to, this is 4:45, okay, 4:45. My doctor's office is right here, and you have to go like out and around the building, and then the hospital was on like the other side of the street. So they're all like right there by each other. So we got in the car, my mom drove me over there, we get checked in, they have to strap you, you know, the heartbeat monitor and like hook you up, IVs and all of that jazz. I'm dilated to 9, right? So there is no time for an epidural. No drugs. I didn't even get no option to have an epidural, which is okay because I originally told Kenny that I wasn't sure that I wanted it anyways. And so that just like, God made that decision for me because I didn't have a choice because she was already right there. There was no, it wouldn't have kicked in time anyway. So they didn't give me the option. And I was dilated to 9, my water hadn't broke. I actually had, this was on a Monday, and I actually had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday to get tested for strep B, which is actually I don't know if it's like a disease, but it's something that the baby can get. If the mom carries it, the baby can get it by being birthed naturally. And I never had the test done because she was so early. When I got in there, they automatically gave me an IV of penicillin just to make sure if I had it, that the baby was protected. Now, on that note, Kenny is allergic to penicillin. So reactions of if that baby carries any sort of the same genes as my husband as far as being allergic to things, if those are genetic, I don't know. I don't know if Lily is for sure allergic to penicillin, but when they put that IV in my arm, it hurt more than giving birth to her. I literally told the nurse, like, I feel like there's something wrong. I felt like somebody was literally stabbing my arm with a million needles, and it just felt so bad. It was not good. And once that was done, they came in and they broke my water. I was having such bad contractions at that point. They broke my water and everything stopped. All the pain went away. There was no contractions. There was no pressure. I wasn't having a baby. To the point to where it lasted long enough where the doctor left the room. It was like a good 10 minutes of, I was like, I'm not pushing because there was no pain, there was no contractions. Eventually I felt like, okay, maybe I should push. I told the nurse, she got the doctor back in there. Okay, all of this happens in the time frame of I'm at the doctor's at 4:45. Lily was born at 5:10. This all happened in that time frame. Like, Lily didn't take a whole lot of anything to give birth to her. She was 5 pounds, 0 ounces, 18 inches long. She was literally a tiny itty bitty little baby. She was a month and a half early. I always kind of joked and said, like, I wasn't supposed to be a teen mom because my due date was July 9th. My birthday is June 22nd. I turned 20 on June 22nd. She was born on June 1st because she had to come early. She just really wanted to meet us. So because she decided to make an entrance as early as she did is the only reason why I was a teen mom. But I guess, I mean, I was pregnant through all of my 19 year. So I was still technically a teen mom anyways. but I know that my like labor and delivery story is 100 times different than almost everybody that I've heard of. And generally speaking, they say that like the first birth is like the hardest, and usually they go over term, and it's like, that was not my case. To be honest, I've had 3 babies and they've progressively gotten worse each pregnancy. But Lily was fast, simple, doctor's office at 4:45. She was born at 5:10. I had to ask them, like, I don't get to hold her. They didn't never take their hands out from underneath of her. They set her on my chest, picked her up, and left the room. Kenny went with her. She wasn't breathing right. So she ended up spending 16 days in the hospital, which is actually sooner than what they expected her to go home. They expected her to stay there until her due date. She actually came home on oxygen, and she is now 9.5 years old. You would never know that she was a preemie. You would never know that we had the issues and complications that we had. And I have summed that up for going on 10 years now to the simple fact that my body was not healthy before I got pregnant. I had only been off of drugs and like had a normal, maintained body functioning properly for not very long before I ended up pregnant. So my body just didn't know how to regulate, didn't know what to do. I don't know, I can't guarantee that. My other 2 pregnancies went full term and everything was fine and dandy. So that, I guess that's why I like sum that up. But if you are interested in how I went from being on drugs to a mom of 3, and they literally are my world, leave it in the comments below, and maybe I will try to make that video and make it family friendly content where you can realize that life is not a life to live. And also, if you are interested in my other 2 labor and delivery stories, which let me tell you right now is 100% different than Lily's. Lily's labor and delivery is really the reason why I was okay with having more babies, because I was like, oh, this is no problem. 5-pound baby, literally like 3 pushes, quick and easy, 10 minutes in the hospital. Yeah, no, not the case with the other 2. So if you're interested in those stories, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story at all, smash that like button. If you're new to this channel, if you have not seen this face before, or any of my beautiful children, or my husband for that matter, or my pig, or my dog, or my ferret, if you've not seen any of us before and you enjoyed this, or maybe want to see more, you should click that little subscribe button and like ding the bell. And you could also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. I post videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday most of the time. So we'll see you in our next video. And hey, stay wacky, fam.